A palace that cannot be valued by an ordinary real estate market. A yacht longer than a football field, worth about $500 million. Private jets, garages with Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, Bugattis, and Mercedes. Horses worth as much as elite penthouses. Falcons for which auctions pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. And a city where one tower cost $1.5 billion. For most people, this sounds like fiction. For Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, it is part of reality. He is not just the ruler of Dubai, he is the man who turned a desert trading town into a symbol of wealth, speed, and impossible ambition. Dubai became a place where they build palm-shaped islands, shopping malls the size of a district, 7-star hotels and skyscrapers visible for dozens of kilometers. But behind all this glass, gold, and marble showcase lies a private life where the ordinary tourist does not get in. Palaces behind high walls, private dinners with presidents and billionaires, private flights without queues and terminals, horse races with prize funds that exceed the budget of a small film, and a level of access where one phone call can launch a multi-billion-dollar project. Today, we will peek into a world where wealth is not just displayed, it is built, launched into the sky, set afloat on water, and turned into an entire city. Welcome to the channel for the richest of the rich.
Luxury life.
The Golden Palace in Dubai. Sheikh Mohammed's main residence in Dubai is known as Zabeel Palace. This is not a place where you can buy a ticket, stand in line, and calmly walk through with an audio guide. This is a closed royal territory where behind every wall you feel not tourist luxury, but real power. From the outside, the palace already looks like a separate world. High walls, security, perfectly clean roads, well-kept lawns, palm trees aligned with almost military precision, and gates that look more like the entrance to a state than to a private home. In Dubai, even the approach to the palace looks expensive. There is no randomness, no chaos, no feeling that something was done approximately. The exact cost of the palace is not disclosed, but if you count the land in one of Dubai's most important districts, security, closed infrastructure, gardens, guest areas, marble, gold finishes, staff, and upkeep, we could easily be talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Inside, according to descriptions from people who have attended private receptions, everything is built on the contrast between Arab tradition and modern super wealth. White marble, gilded ceilings, hand-woven carpets, European crystal, custom-made furniture, rare decorative items from different countries. Where an ordinary person picks a discounted sofa, here furniture may be manufactured specifically for the hall, matching the color of the stone, the pattern of the ceiling, and the reception protocol. One large crystal chandelier for a palace of this level can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. A hand-woven Persian carpet, tens of thousands, and rare examples go for hundreds of thousands. Marble floors, if you count by area and quality of stone, could be worth as much as elite apartments. And this is only what guests walk on. But Zabeel Palace is not just a home. It is a place where leaders, businessmen, investors, and representatives of royal families are received. Behind such doors, deals worth more than the palace itself may be discussed. Even breakfast in such a place is not just food. It is a ritual. Exotic fruits, rare honey, expensive types of coffee, fresh pastries, tableware with a golden sheen, staff that works almost invisibly. In the world of ultra luxury, what impresses is not only what is served, what impresses is how it appears on the table, on time, silently, without questions, and without limits. Flights, yachts, and garages where vehicles cost as much as a skyscraper. When an ordinary rich person speaks of comfort, they buy business class. When a very rich person does, a private jet. But for the rulers of Dubai, the scale is different. A plane can be not a means of transport, but a flying palace. In open sources, Sheikh Mohammed is credited with using private Boeing 747s. Such an aircraft in its commercial version is designed for hundreds of passengers, but in royal execution, it is transformed into an airborne residence. Bedrooms, rooms, meeting rooms, lounge areas, separate quarters for the crew, communication systems, security, and interiors where leather, wood, metal, and gold all work towards one effect. The person must forget that they are flying in an aeroplane. The price of such an airborne palace can easily exceed $300 to $500 million, especially if you count not only the plane itself, but also the conversion, and that is only the air. On the water, the Sheikh has the super yacht Dubai, one of the most recognizable yachts in the world. Its length is about 162 meters. That is longer than many cruise ships of the past century, and roughly 1.5 football fields. Estimated value? About $500 million. So one yacht can be worth more than dozens of villas on the coast. On board, a helicopter pad, a swimming pool, relaxation areas, guest cabins, crew quarters, salons, entertainment spaces. Such a yacht is not a boat for leisure. It is a floating palace that requires a separate crew, fuel, technical maintenance, mooring, security, and constant preparation. Just the annual maintenance of a super yacht of this class can cost tens of millions of dollars. Imagine, even when the yacht is going nowhere, it still spends money. Standing in the marina, money. Servicing engines, money. Keeping a crew, money. Preparing to receive guests, money. Maintaining the crystal, decks, pool, air conditioning, safety, again, money. For an ordinary person, a house requires expenses. For a sheikh, a yacht requires a budget that looks like the budget of a small company. Now let us add the cars. The garages of Dubai's ruling family are a separate universe. Rolls-Royce Phantom, Bentley, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Mercedes G-Class, Bugatti. Such cars are not just bought, they are often custom made. Special colors, coats of arms, initials, rare leather, armoring, individual interiors. One Rolls-Royce Phantom can cost from $500,000 and up. A Bugatti, several million. There are also the famous off-road vehicles for the desert, including six-wheeled versions of the Mercedes G-Class. Such a car looks like a toy for a person for whom an ordinary G-Wagon seems too modest. The price of such custom off-roaders can exceed $1 million. But the most telling thing is not that he has expensive cars, it is that they can be transported in advance. When the sheikh or his family travel, part of the transport may be sent separately, so that the required car is already waiting on arrival. Dinners where one evening can cost as much as a millionaire's wedding. When Sheikh Mohammed hosts a dinner, it is not like an ordinary social reception. It is closer to a performance where every element costs money. Lighting, music, food, security, table setting, chefs, rare ingredients, atmosphere, and the guest list. Guests pass through illuminated inner courtyards where live music plays, oud burns, expensive oriental incense smells, and the air itself seems to become part of the decor. You don't need to shout about luxury here. It is felt in the details, in how the lanterns are placed, how the staff moves, how coffee is served, how silver and gold gleam on the table. At such dinners, kings, presidents, business magnates, investors, movie stars, and people managing billions of dollars may sit side by side. And in this environment, food is not just food. It is a language of status. Black caviar can cost thousands of dollars per kilogram. Rare saffron, more expensive than many metals by weight. Genuine Japanese Wagyu in premium quality can cost hundreds of dollars per steak. Truffles, thousands of dollars per kilogram. Edible gold leaf by itself does not make food tastier, but in the luxury world, it makes it a spectacle. Lamb cooked for hours with spices, seafood, rare fruits, gold-topped desserts, coffee from special varieties, and honey that smells more like perfume than an ordinary product may be served on the table. All of this may lie on tableware whose value is comparable to a car. A dinner service for a large reception, custom made from silver, porcelain, and gold, can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But such dinners have another price, an invisible one, the price of preparation. A team of chefs sourcing ingredients from around the world, logistics, security, flowers, live musicians, protocol, interpreters, cars for guests, route security. One private dinner for high-level guests can cost more than a lavish wedding for 300 people. And after eating comes what you cannot buy in an ordinary restaurant. traditional dances, live music, sometimes a falconry display where the bird takes to the sky and returns to its owner's hand. In Arab culture, the falcon is not just an animal. It is a symbol of power, patience, precision, and heritage. Horses, falcons, and animals that cost as much as collector cars. Sheikh Mohammed's love for horses is not a rich man's hobby. It is an entire empire. He founded Godolphin, one of the most famous racing and breeding operations in the world. This is not just a stable with beautiful horses. It is a global system. Dubai, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, Japan, the United States, trainers, veterinarians, breeding, flights, competitions, private farms, and enormous budgets. A top racehorse can cost millions of dollars. Individual champions and breeding stallions in the racing world are valued at tens of millions, and their future value is sometimes even higher than the purchase price because they produce offspring. In such a business, a horse is not only an animal, it is an athlete, a brand, a genetic asset, and a ticket to an elite club. The Dubai World Cup is one of the main symbols of this passion. In the year 2025, the total prize fund for race day was $30.5 million, and the main race, $12 million. By comparison, that is more than the budget of many independent films and more than the value of several elite villas in good neighborhoods of the world. But the money goes not only to prizes. Maintaining a horse of this level is a separate expense line. Feed, trainers, veterinarians, flights, stables, staff, insurance, race entries. One elite racehorse can live better than most people. Personal care, special nutrition, medical monitoring, training, and international travel. Falcons are another part of this culture. In the Emirates, falconry is not just entertainment, it is a heritage of the desert. A good falcon can cost tens of thousands of dollars, and rare birds at regional auctions go for hundreds of thousands. In the year 2025, at an international falcon auction in Saudi Arabia, one falcon was sold for about 1.2 million Saudi riyals, which is roughly $320,000. Now imagine a bird worth the price of an apartment. To an ordinary person, this sounds strange. To the Arab elite, it is a symbol of origin, taste, and respect for tradition. Falcons are transported under special conditions, kept in air-conditioned facilities, treated in specialized clinics, trained by the best masters. In some cases, birds travel almost like VIP passengers, and this is no longer just care for an animal. It is a level of status where even a pet lives in first-class format. In private holdings, the Sheikh is also said to have exotic animals: white lions, cheetahs, giraffes, zebras, antelopes, and Arabian oryxes. It is important here not to turn this into a circus. For the royal family, such animals are part of culture, a symbol of wild beauty and sometimes an element of preserving rare species. But the cost of such a world is enormous. A mini zoo attached to a private residence can cost millions of dollars to build and further millions to maintain. Dubai as a personal project worth hundreds of billions. Sheikh Mohammed's chief luxury is not even the palace, the yacht, or the plane. The chief luxury is Dubai itself. Many rulers inherit cities. He turned a city into a showcase of the future. Just a few decades ago, Dubai was completely different. Sand, port, trade, fishing boats, low buildings, and heat that dictated the terms. But Sheikh Mohammed saw not a desert, but a testing ground for an experiment. He understood, if you have little oil compared to your neighbors, you need to sell not oil, but a dream. And so Dubai was born, the Dubai that everyone knows today. Burj Khalifa, the tallest skyscraper in the world, 828 meters. The construction cost is usually estimated at about $1.5 billion. This is not just a tower, it is Dubai's vertical billboard, visible to the whole world. Every time someone says the tallest building on the planet, they are effectively pronouncing the name of the city. Palm Jumeirah, an artificial island shaped like a palm tree. Its creation is often estimated at roughly $12 billion. This was not just a construction project, it was an attempt to draw luxury directly on the water. Villas, hotels, beaches, private residences, restaurants, views for which people pay millions. On the Palm, real estate can cost from millions to tens of millions of dollars, especially if it is a villa with a private beach and a view of the Arabian Gulf. The Dubai Mall, another symbol of scale. More than 1,200 shops, more than 200 restaurants and food outlets, an aquarium, entertainment, hotels nearby, and a flow of more than 100 million visitors per year. Inside, there is Fashion Avenue, more than 150 luxury shops and restaurants. This is not just a shopping center, it is a machine that turns tourist flow into money. Dubai is built so that admiration quickly turns into a check. Emirates Airline, another part of this system. In the financial year 2024 to 2025, the Emirates Group reported a record pre-tax profit of 22.7 billion dirhams, which is about $6.2 billion. This is no longer just an airline. It is an air artery that brings tourists, businessmen, investors, and money from all over the world to Dubai. And that is the genius of the project. Dubai sells not one thing, it sells the whole chain. Flight, airport, hotel, taxi, shopping mall, restaurant, view of the skyscraper, apartment, yacht marina, business license, conference, and the feeling that here you can live faster and richer. A fortune that is difficult to count. How much is Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum actually worth? Here begins the most interesting part. An ordinary billionaire has shares, companies, yachts, houses, funds. They can be roughly estimated, added up, and you get a number. With the ruler of Dubai, things are much more complicated. Open estimates of his personal wealth vary. Some older rankings wrote about several billion dollars. Other investigations and financial assessments speak of a business empire of roughly $14 billion. But even that sum does not explain the real scale of his influence. Because personal money is only the top layer. There is Dubai Holding, investments, real estate, shares in projects, land, state assets, companies linked to tourism, aviation, ports, banks, hotels, and development. There is the Investment Corporation of Dubai, the main investment holding company of the Dubai government, which in the year 2024 showed assets of about 1.47 trillion dirhams. That is approximately $400 billion. Of course, this is not the Sheikh's personal wallet, but it shows the scale of the system that Dubai manages. And in such a system, power sometimes means more than ownership on paper. A separate topic is real estate outside Dubai. Investigations have mentioned large holdings in the United Kingdom, including lands, estates, and properties worth hundreds of millions of pounds. One large estate in Scotland is not just a country house. It is tens of thousands of acres of land, private roads, staff houses, helicopter pads, maintenance, and expenses that by themselves look like a business. This is why the question, is he a billionaire or not, sounds too simple. Yes, he is undoubtedly among the richest and most influential people in the Middle East, but his real wealth does not fit into a Forbes line. Quiet power and connections that are worth more than gold. There are rich people who constantly appear in the news. They give interviews, argue on social networks, show off purchases, and turn every step into a show. Sheikh Mohammed works differently. His influence is often manifested not in loud statements, but in results. A new district, a new law, a new project, a new airline route network, a new investment flow, a new international forum in Dubai. In the world of big money, silence can be more expensive than advertising. When global companies come to Dubai, they care not only about offices and tax conditions, they care about access. Land, licenses, speed of approvals, connections, trust, the rules of the game. And here the personal influence of the ruler becomes a resource that cannot be bought directly. One short meeting can open doors for a project worth $1 billion. One private conversation can speed up the construction of a district, the launch of a technology hub, or the arrival of a major brand. Where in other countries businesses go through approval processes for years, Dubai often acts faster. That is his style. If a project is needed, it must move. That is why the city looks as if it was built in fast-forward mode. Skyscrapers rise, roads widen, districts appear on top of sand, and new rules are adopted for new opportunities. Sheikh Mohammed managed to combine two things that rarely work together: an Eastern monarchical tradition and aggressive modern business speed. And that makes his influence especially valuable. Because in the world of luxury, money buys things, but power buys speed. And speed in business can be worth billions. If an investor moves into the right district before the rest of the world arrives, they earn a fortune. If a brand opens a flagship store in the right place, it gets a flow of customers. If an airline becomes the main bridge between continents, it turns geography into profit. Dubai has become exactly that bridge, between East and West, between capital and ambition, between the desert and the future. And behind this image, there is not only oil, not only construction, and not only money. Behind it is a system of decisions where luxury is used as an instrument of influence. Dubai sells not just comfort, it sells the feeling that here, anything is possible, if you have enough capital, courage, and access. The life of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum is difficult to describe in ordinary words. Home, car, plane, yacht, fortune. At his level, these words become too small. And that is the whole essence of true luxury power. The most expensive thing in the world is not a yacht, not a palace, and not a private jet. The most expensive thing is to create a place where millions of people fly to feel closer to wealth. Sheikh Mohammed did not just build a career as a ruler, he built a dream of glass, gold, sand, and billions of dollars. And he named it Dubai. Write in the comments everything you think about this and subscribe to the channel for the richest of the rich. Hear about luxury, wealth, and the lives of the most influential people on the planet. And right now, watch the previous episodes that have already appeared on your screen.